with this, we come to the session, and then we will break for lunch together. So this session is about empowering change, how emerging technology can transform the Indian police force into a service-oriented institution. And the speaker is an Indian Police Service IPS officer from AP Kadra, also an engineer from IIT Kharagpur. In his past role, he was a data scientist at Bosch Center for AI, where he built Plantech. He's also a patent holder. Please allow me to welcome Kommi Prathap Sivakishore, IPS, with a huge round of applause. Salute to you, sir.
Good evening. It's almost very late, so we will still call it good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I am Kishore Kommi. I'm an Indian Police Service Officer of 2019 batch, currently working as Additional SP Chintapalli in Andhra Pradesh. And you might have all wondering like why a cop in uniform is, what is he doing amongst all the techies. So generally, whenever there is a problem, be it COVID, be it distress on a road, any problem, sometimes random problems also, we get calls to police on a dial 100. So here, the police who is coming to you for his own problems. For police to be the first responder, we have to seek out technology. Technology is the only way that we can fulfill our roles as expected by the citizens today. So let me just start by saying, having a small recap of COVID times. Please play the video. So, meanwhile, the place I work, Chintapalli, is a remote location, and the major challenges there are heavy ganja smuggling and Naxalism. Yeah. Let's wait for the video, and you all might have had your interactions with police at some point of time, and for many it would have started saying from the childhood, mother saying, "Khana nahi khaoge to police bulaungi." So that's the kind of fear that was entrenched into the minds of people. Many of you, even though you had problems, might not have reached out to police, be it social stigma or be it out of fear, or maybe not expecting the kind of service that you deserve. So, do we have the audio?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear sir. Happy birthday to you. लो सर केक काटिए। अब आपको क्या ऑफर करूं? देखो तो मेरा बच्चा भाग से हम है ना आपके बात है।
So, in almost what it seemed like an apocalyptic pandemic, this small gesture by the Panchkula police of reaching out to an old man who is living all alone, far away from his relatives, not only left him emotional and teary-eyed, but also filled him much needed hope in a very, very desperate times. So, during COVID, we have seen police from celebrating birthdays to performing last rites. We have seen them shifting people from hospitals to solving the migrant crisis by feeding them, by finding places for them to stay. And police were literally everywhere, be it vaccine deliveries, be it containment, be it enforcement, lockdown. So even when the general mood of the public is abandonment, even we have seen in this case where their kith and kin have abandoned them. But the police, without overcoming the first instinct where we will try to protect our own family, they have risked the families to be a bulwark against the virus. So to sum up, in the face of the unrivaled crisis which was never seen before, all these challenges, there were no SOPs, there was no precedent to follow. The police metamorphosed from a force into a service and delivered service beyond citizens' expectations. So that's why all the major dailies have had stories like that, praising the policeman, which was not so usual before. So how was it achieved? The expectations from the common man, from police, were met. So for example, the trust and transparency, every one of the public knew what police was doing, why they were enforcing the lockdown, and when they were enforcing the lockdown. So through the outreach and through the transparency, they established the trust and consent. So now for all the force that police have used, we had the consent of the public. When you have the consent, there is no issue out there. And police have leveraged technology. You would have seen all the dashboards mentioning where are the hospital beds available, where the oxygen cylinders are available. All these are built up from scratch, taking help from the pro bono volunteers and tech community like yours. And the best practices, whether it is in UK, whether it is in Uttarakhand, everywhere the best practices were quickly found and replicated across the country at scale, at speed. So the quality of contact tracing, you imagine finding some criminal is very difficult. Imagine somebody who is a common man who has no trace coming away from Bombay or somewhere. The police was given a task to reach out to him. Where did he go? Whom did he meet? So to establish that contact tracing, and it was happening at each and every village level. So, but the police have delivered this amazing efficiency. And police were also seen reaching out proactively to people instead of waiting for public to reach out to them during the problems. And values like empathy and inclusion were seen the way that police have handled the migrant crisis. All the poor people walking all the way from Kanyakumari to Kashmir with no help. Police and the other authorities are the people who have fed them, who have found them a stay, and the common misnomer that police is with powerful and all, those myths were erased during that migrant crisis. So what is stopping us to deliver this day in and day out? If we can do it during a crisis that we have never seen, why can't we do it day in and day out? So the challenges are not small. There is an uphill battle for us to do. So you all have heard about multiple times we're understaffed, underskilled, undertrained. But these problems are going to stay. For example, to put things in perspective, India has only 144 policemen per lakh population, when the UN mandate is 222 police per lakh population. So, and most of the staff that we have are also undertrained, underskilled, and there is almost no concept of on-the-job training, and even if rarely it exists, it's mostly irrelevant to the times that we live in. So, and when you look at the criminals, when police are understaffed, underskilled, and under-resourced, crime is becoming increasingly complex, more sophisticated, technical, and are demanding heavy resources. You might wonder, a degree graduate is doing a Bitcoin scam. So while police is struggling with interstate coordination problems, achieving interoperability between the existing systems like CCTNS, ICJS, and Maharashtra Police to Andhra Police, and crossing the language barriers, the crime is increasingly becoming borderless and faceless. So to sum up, we are aiming at first world standards with the third world resources that we have. So is there hope, or is it all despair? Are we being pessimistic? Not at all. Despite having almost half of the sanctioned mandatory police force than USA, our homicide rates are half than compared to USA. They have almost 5, and we have only 2.8. So that's the level of efficiency that we have. We often don't put it out in perspective to kind of realize the good job that is already being done. But, yeah, thank you. So we have all seen the challenges that I think the seniors might have heard during their engage, the police is understaffed. And I have heard, and I'm sure that my kids also will hear. But can we leave these long pickled problems to just stay like that, okay, these big police reforms, Supreme Court has advertised, should we just wait for those big reforms? Absolutely no. That's where technology can come in and play a big role. Technology is going to be our silver bullet. You people are going to be our first responders. We are first responders to public, but techies are the people who are going to solve and who have the capabilities to solve the issues that police face. So emerging technologies like generative AI, blockchain, and metaverse have opened up huge opportunities and possibilities in governance and especially for police. I'll be giving out a perspective about police, but whatever is said about police is very well applicable to each and every avenue of government. So let us walk you through a case study of Vandana. Let's imagine this girl who is a 14-year-old girl, any other girl, and she is facing harassment from her own school teacher. He is blackmailing her with morph pictures. Somebody mentioned deepfakes. And he is blackmailing her into things that are unmentionable. What is the way out to her? Can she reach to police? Can she open up to her parents? Can she tell her seniors or teachers? There will be value judgments. There will be asking, why only you? I think many of you might have experienced this inside trauma about, let alone, she won't even be able to comprehend what is happening to her, asking her to gather up courage and going out and talking about it and reporting is unimaginable. That's where the generative AI can come in. And imagine an empathetic bot which is very well trained on how to talk to your victim, how to talk to your child, and how it can ask a very non-intrusive questions without making her feel bad. The first thing that victim would require is, okay, Vandana, this is not your fault. That person is 100% at fault, and he is punishable on so and so legal sections. And it will also help the little girl to reach out to the support system, which child welfare police officer she should reach out to, and which NGO can help her. It can also give out steps to take, like it's common to see at that engage, the quick response would be deleting all the screenshots, erasing all the harassment evidence. But the bot will guide. Not only it counsels her, it also emphasizes on why it is essential to report, how she can stop other children to be the victims, and how to collect the evidence. And so this is how the bot would look. So it is currently operational. It works on Jugalbandi and Bashini. So it is available in almost 11 Indian languages. Any user can select the language. For example, there is a query that I am in Gurgaon, Leela ambience. Someone is stalking me, following me. What can I do? What are my legal options? The bot will deliver a response. First, it will show that empathetic what is happening to you. It is expressing the sadness. And then it will quote the sections 354D and tells the punishment that is available and how to report. And for each and everything, be it sexual harassment at workplace, be it, and the best part is you can scroll down and you can, for people who are not literate, for people who can't read, type, they can simply press a voice message and talk in the language that they can speak. Go down to the voice message. Yeah, little. Yeah, you can play that. Yeah, so they can just message their problem, and the bot would respond both in text and the voice in the language that the victim have chosen. So we are including a lot of masses, and we are empowering with them to know their rights, and to reach out to people without facing the social stigma of coming to the police station and face value judgments. And at the same time, it's very difficult for me to train all my police personnel in the police stations to be very empathetic. Now, for such chatbot, imagine giving a context history. Imagine just now Ravi was speaking how you can prompt engineer. Somebody might not be able to ask relevant questions. How can you rephrase their questions and submit it to the chatbot so that she will get the most helpful response? And we can also integrate the multimodal things. She can submit the screenshots here and everything gets documented into the case file. Imagine the user flow, how it can ease the entire experience through to the police. That's where we are heading at. That's where you can contribute. And okay, now the girl have given out, go to the next slide. Next slide. So the girl has given out her complaint. Now what to do? Now the IO will go to the scene. And imagine the kind of qualifications we have and the regular trainings. It's very difficult to investigate and expect the state-of-the-art investigation from everyone and in each and every police station and each and every nook and corner of the country. That's where AI can again come up and guide based on a specific crime. So far now, it's the senior officers who will write down crime memos, go to the case, do this, do this, do this, and then they will do those steps and try to get justice for the girl. Go to the previous video, and you can play. So this is a crime memo generator. Well, this is the DSR that I get every day in the morning. So-and-so incident happened. So based on that, I'm supposed to guide to my men what are the steps to be taken, what kind of actions that they should take, how do they preserve the evidence, and how can they prepare the charge sheet, and what are the common mistakes that they do, how can we avoid them so that the perpetrator will be brought to justice. So I'll just select the crime DSR that comes to my, at the start of my day, and select the browser, and I'll just ask the generate memos. Then the AI is today just with the GPT-4, which is already available, which is only trained till 2021. And given that I added some more context about the Indian Bear Acts and few SOPs of AP Police Manual, etc., I gave that context. So based on the query, it will fetch those relevant laws to it, and you can go and open the document. Yeah, AI crime memo. Click on the crime memo. Can you open the document? AI crime memo. You click on the link, hyperlink. So what it does is, it will not just show what the investigation officer should look at the crime scene. It will also tell, for example, take a, can you open it? It's already in the browser. So this is a case where an attempt to murder happened by a husband on her in-laws. So the lady came to the police station and have given a complaint. So what normally happens is, attempt to murder, section 307 IPC, what would be the normal defense recourse to? Defense would often go and say, okay, the injury was there, but the injury was not inflicted by the perpetrator. It was inflicted by his own. So that's the most common defense that was taken by the lawyers. So imagine my crime memo having that insight generated during the inception of the case itself. That will help my IO along with the rectification measures. So he has to now clearly photograph those injuries, showing the intent, and he will also not forget what are the words that that particular person was uttering when he was inflicting the injury. मैं मार दूंगा तुम्हें. That is very relevant. If he has missed that particular statement in the investigation early on, the chance of the case going for acquittal is very high. At the same time, the crime memo will also consist of all the relevant Supreme Court judgments, all relevant clues to take up. So you can play the video, I'll just show the video. The previous video. Take it to the half. Next. Where the document was showing. Yeah, this is how the document would look like. This entire thing is generated by AI, backend working on GPT-4. So specific wherever investigation guidelines are to be queried, wherever the defense strategies are to be queried, there is a specific query being written to the OpenAI API along with the context of the crime which was seen in the DSR file that you have seen before. Scroll down a little. So go. So here it is explaining to the IO each and every section that is applicable, why it is applicable, and to prove that section, what evidence they need to collect, and how defense is going to tear it down in the court, and what rectifications they can take, and what are the relevant judgments. So imagine such kind of context is being given for each and every crime to the IO. I can tell with this crime memo and we can bridge the barriers of the skill, of the training and other things. So next, the step would come to, okay, we have done our investigation, then it will go to the documentation part, streamlining the documentation. For example, when we investigate the complex cases like Bitcoin, scams, etc., we need to submit several requests to the service providers, the telecom companies, the banks. A lot of times, the reluctance from police comes because of they have to go through tons of documentation to seek this data. That's why not every case, there is a set of reluctance. Imagine just by a click of button and providing the mobile number, the service request is going to the service provider and the analytics are coming back to the IO. IO will simply have, these are the suspect numbers, these are the links that are there. Now the investigation will speed up. The investigation that used to take 1 year can now be done within 20 days. And then it goes to the public prosecutors. Now we have completed the investigation, we have submitted the charge sheet. Now the AI can actually vet a charge sheet and tell what are the loopholes. And initially I thought it would hallucinate, etc. I take pride in myself that I read every document that I sign. I have submitted my own charge sheet and it was able to find out the loopholes, the fallacies within the timelines, the logical mistakes. In GPT 3.5 itself, imagine you custom training, fine-tune the models with all the relevant successful case studies, successful SOPs and successful Supreme Court judgments. You are looking at empowering each and every policeman with state-of-art technology and state-of-art legal knowledge, all just with a single application. So, and next slide. So where can the blockchain and smart contracts come up? So evidence tracking is a big issue. A lot of questions will be raised in the court. Okay, this particular evidence you are submitting, but this phone was handled by someone else. So how do we solve the trust issue? How do we solve the interoperability issue? That's where blockchain can come up based on smart contracts. And whenever the police complete the investigation as well, it's very difficult for the courts to accept it. The courts will say that IO has not submitted the charge sheet on time, IO has not given so-and-so document, so we are not able to take cognizance of the crime. That's why the trial will take 4 or 5 years of the investigation was completed. Now you put in smart contracts in that layer. When IO has fulfilled all the prerequisites, pre-coded contract elements, the charge sheet should get automatically consumed by the court. Nobody, either if there is a fault from police, I will suspend my fellow. And if there is a fault from the court, there is a whole layer of transparency built in. It is very verifiable. Nobody can complain it's police fault. I can't complain it's court's fault. It's out there for everyone to see. So that's what smart contracts can do. Currently, if I am collecting a knife in a crime scene, what is the existing process? My SHO will write a letter to me. sir, please send this to Forensic Science Laboratory in Hyderabad. So I have to make a letter, and then I'll address the letter to Forensic Science Laboratory director. I'll put a constable, he'll go to Hyderabad, hand it over, and they will complete their analysis, and they will again send it in a registered post back to me. And this is not for a sensitive case, this is for every case. Imagine a smart contract there. I just have to click a button, tell what is the evidence, which could already be looped in the system, and the draft will automatically generate. It will go to his node, and that person has all the details. The moment the analysis is completed, it will come to me. And there is no need for authentication, there is no need for digital signatures, etc. It's all there. If somebody is playing hanky-panky, it's visible to everyone. So what is currently taking 20 days for a simple FSL report can be completed within 2 days. That's where we should head. And such use of, and when it comes to augmented reality and metaverse, imagine this crime scene, he'll go to the Vandana's place, or maybe assume it's a violent crime. And my constable, my SI are not always trained about how to collect biological samples, etc. So imagine a digital twin of crime scene is available there, and the expert who is sitting in Forensic Science Laboratory can guide my constable, my SI, do this. He will be seeing at how the crime scene is. So no need for, now whatever central best practices that we have can be taken to each and every nook and corner. Now suddenly the way that our policemen handle the evidence will become state of art, and the courts also can start trusting the process now. So how to do this? So go to the next slide. So these all can't just be done by one government alone or one government institution alone. So increasingly the crimes are becoming complex, the needs are becoming complex. So we need to collaborate, and the power of collaboration, you could see both the applications that I'm currently using, my officers are currently using, are generated within a span of 1 month, and most of the code I have written is also from ChatGPT, and I have left coding since long. And it is so easy to build that GUI, although it is very basic. If I can do that, imagine Google or Microsoft or the big tech partners and everyone coming on board and developing these solutions for public. And this is also not just useful for police. Now, when you talk about fraud intelligence, the crime is not happening at one single place. It's not individuals. They are organized networks now. And India is going a big way into the building digital infrastructure like UPI, Aadhaar, etc. You can't say, this is your problem, this is my problem. So when it comes to crime intelligence and fraud intelligence, all the big tech companies have a need to collaborate with police so that you know the crime at the budding stage. So you can prevent it before it is taking up much of the space and before it starts hurting you. That's where the collaborations can come up. And we have to move beyond the RFP model, that a police officer has some problem, I have designed a request for proposal, I called for tenders, and some company made a bid, and they developed one standalone solution, which will not talk to any existing solution, which will also not be able to be interoperable with the coming solution. That's where we have to move towards more software as a service models, where the institutions have a stake in it, so that I'll pay more like how many cases you are solving, how much easy is it for my staff to use it, how much time it is saving for my staff, so that there is also a stake and interest in the developers to continue developing it and maintaining it. And keep the end users in the mind. We are only the customers will help you will buy the software, but the people who are ultimately using are the inspectors and constables, so all these products needs to be designed to them. And most of the times it also happens that you build a solution, now there is blockchain, now there is generative AI, take the solution. That's how we are operating now. It should be mostly for all the startups that are coming in, sit where the problem exists, sit with the constables, sit with the officers, and then see which solution is effective to solve their problem. It should not be solution to the problem, it should be problem to the solution. And pilot also who can champion your cause, who can understand the tech, You might have amazing solution. We have these solutions, but still there is a lot of convincing that needs to be taken. It's not replicated across. So somebody needs to champion your cases, somebody who can understand. So find out those people within public systems who can help you build the product and fine tune it and pilot it. And you can go to the next slide. So the previous slide where you are seeing there was a huge problem of Divyangs in the tribal region. They're all married and within one village, etc. And the government system says that I went to the village when I took charge. So the first day, the lady Chilakamma didn't have both legs. And I asked her, are you getting Divyang pension? She replied, no, why are you not getting Divyang pension? Because there is a thing called Sadaram certification that is not being done. So I asked, how do we get the Sadaram certification? The lady from the remote hamlet where there is no mobile network, he has to reach out to Vizag, which is like 5 hours away, there is no help. She has to consult 3 doctors. 3 doctors have to certify that she is disabled. Mind you, that lady has she don't have both the legs. And because of we are forcing, the world is moving, so we are doing this Aadhaar, JAM, that amazing IT portal where you will book a slot and a particular slot doctor will be there and you'll go meet them on that time and he will give the certificate. That lady don't have mobile network in her area and you are forcing her to take the slots. So what we did, we just reached out, we collaborated, we brought the doctors to the place. Within a span of 2 days, 1,000 of such Divyangs were certified and all of them started getting pensions, 3,000 per month, within a span of 2-3 months. So the point I want to drive home is, the world is not going to stop. We are going to develop JAM, we are going to develop state-of-art solutions. Sorry, I will just wrap it up. And we are going to develop these chatbots, but the point is that chatbot should be able to understand a tribal dialect. The chatbot should be able to understand how a child would call a violent crime, or how would she describe sexual violence. She might not use the words, but we need to inbuild all these things into the systems. And I hope that if a solution can be built in India, it can work anywhere in the world. And looking forward to more and more applications being generated for police and for government. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Mr. Sivakishore, IPS. Kindly stay with us. Thank you for this powerful session. And can I please request Shrikant Srinivasan, Vice President and Head Membership, NASSCOM, to felicitate Kommi, Prathap, Sivakishore, IPS for this wonderful, wonderful address. Thank you, gentlemen. All